That other deal. When I was at Papa John's cleaning dishes, Blondie's dumbass was standing back there with me, and he was like, I remember the conversation now about this entire situation, and it was around the same day. Blondie was like, I have to get Mary pregnant, but I want to talk about this ridiculous talking backwards. Like my father does this a lot, but I think it's just the fucking antisocial tactic when you know you're in the wrong. Because Blondie came in, he wanted Mary Bowberry, and during this conversation, he didn't speak it as if he wanted Mary Bowberry. He instead came in and started asking me a bunch of random questions about fat chicks. And then I said to him, because this is the thing, he literally openly admitted that he knew he was in the wrong in what he was doing, but he doesn't have self-control because he doesn't have agency, okay? This is the thing with malignant narcissists. They're impulsive. He has no self-control. He doesn't have agency in his life. He just does things, and then he's the victim of it. And then afterwards, he spins a narrative about what he did. If he murders a kid, it's not murdering a kid, it's a narrative about how the kid needed to die. And it's a lie that he tells, and that's what narratives are. They are lies. They are exclusional stories that make no fucking sense if you ever put them underneath a microscope. But, we were back there, and he was like, basically, when it comes to fat chicks, and he was like, he's like, and every fat chick, basically, when he was talking to me, he was like, well, you know, Mary has this body shape, and I was like, well, you could say that about every BBW. They all have unique shapes. And he's like, exactly. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and they all have unique personalities. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And then he's like, so it doesn't matter which one I give you. And I was like, what? And then he was like, I got her. Oh, you know what this is? I put myself in your place because I knew you were in the right, but then I replaced you in the conversation, and then I worked it backwards. And at the time, I didn't understand a damn thing he was talking about, so I was like, truly, you have a dizzying intellect. But now I get exactly what he did. It's that stupid shit where he knew he was in the wrong. That's why he came back there and just said a bunch of words to get me to agree with him. And this is the thing about a malignant narcissist. If they're ever trying to get you to agree with them, just don't do it. Walk away and ignore them. Because this is the sad truth about that. They're trying to get you to fit their objective reality, and they're trying to give them permission to commit an atrocity. One of the things that came in was Blondie trying to get forgiveness from me and not trying to explain what he wanted forgiveness for, only that he wanted me to say I forgave him. And I told him I don't do that. I don't do forgiveness. And at some point, I kind of forgave him, but not really. And then he got all excited and ran out of the back of Papa John's. And I didn't understand what the fuck that was about because I didn't know what he did. Okay, had I known what he did, I would have never forgave his dumb ass because he doesn't deserve forgiveness. But in his brain, it's an entitlement. You have to forgive me. No, I do not. And this is kind of the shit that led into the crazy shit with Mary. Because, once again, she's a trophy. Blondie literally said as much. But I wanted to talk about other trophies because during that conversation, I was like, what if I freed another wife that is under contract by your church? That, you know, while you guys are, like, investigating me, and I don't know how I knew that. And he froze, and he was like, you can't do that. And I was like, no. I was like, what? Because some of the wives I had sex with actually belonged to other church leaders. And I said, what if I freed a different wife? And then he was like, well, fine, but if you do that, you have to give her advice on stuff. Chi. And then he was like, but you can have her. I'll let you have her. And he was all smug about it. And Blondie, her name's Kayla Polani, and I reported her when you guys had that white van out there for you guys kidnapping her son and threatening to kill him if she didn't come back, and they ended up freeing her. And then she did a live stream where she was on there talking about how anxious she was about her court date with you people in your stupid fucking court. And I gave her advice, Blondie. I told her don't stress about the stress. So, let's see if you're actually a man of your word. Kayla's kind of funny, though, because she's kind of built like these Whoop girls on DA, and she had, like, really bigger boobies. I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to ask a fat chick. Can you get fatter boobs? I don't know. Maybe she'd be into it. I don't even know if she likes me, but I think at this point it doesn't really fucking matter, because I already fucked everything else up with my fucking metal brain that was recovering, and I said a bunch of things I never would have said had I not had a metal brain. But these people don't care, because the idea is to force you to make a mistake by poisoning you with heavy metals and fucking you up as much as they can so they can cheat at everything. Blondie's world, and I want to talk about this, understanding the malignant narcissist. In Blondie's world, he does things, and then he decides the narrative if it's good or bad. Okay? One of the things that came up when I was a church leader was the wives were telling me about some guy that competed in, like, the Olympics that was, like, part of this church. And basically there was a dude that outran him, and he was faster and better, and this loser couldn't handle it. So he did something and injected this guy's spine with something that caused it to swell up and put this guy in the hospital, and then later killed him. But then this guy's narrative, his logic on what he did to win the Olympics game, was he was doing this guy a favor because he was testing him to see if he could overcome having a swollen spine and run in the Olympics anyways and win with a swollen spine. And I was like, this is the most convoluted, stupid cope I've ever heard in my life. And then he went on to say that when he was on camera, he knew that guy was so jealous because that guy beat him in the race, it made him jealous. And now he knew he was jealous because he was in the hospital bed. And then he went there and virtue signaled and visited the guy in the hospital. And they went on this thing, and I was like, kill him. And the wives were like, what? I was like, kill that guy. And they were like, no, because the guy learned a valuable lesson from what happened to him, and he went on to be successful. Just our guy had to commit the atrocity, and he shouldn't have been committing atrocities to begin with. And they went, no, you gotta understand. No, he shouldn't have been doing that to begin with. And they kept trying to explain to me the glorious psychology of the malignant narcissist and how it'll blow your kneecap off and then take credit when you're like, oh, I wrote a book about getting my kneecap blew off, and I persevered, and that's my story. This guy did it to me, and then they go, oh, I'm taking credit for your greatness because I gave that to you by damaging you. And then you go, okay, so it's okay for me to do that to you, and they go, no! And that no is who they really are. Okay? That response, and yeah, Blondie, when I said Carolina Herrera thought he was weird, he went, what? That's the real him. That insecure person that was like, that's him. Okay? The facade is what you meet in a malignant narcissist. The facade is that thing that's well crafted to make you like them. That is the charisma of Blondie. That is the setup of this entire game. Is Blondie doesn't fucking understand, and he doesn't, because he's the victim of it because he has no impulse control. He just does things, and then when they work out for him, when he rigs something in his favor, when he poisons somebody with heavy metals, he's like, I win, and then they're like, if it wasn't supposed to be so, then it wouldn't happen. And then once again, you would be okay with people shooting you in the head, but you're seemingly not. Because if you're supposed to get shot in the head, you're supposed to get shot in the head. That's what's supposed to happen. You're not allowed to have a bunch of assholes with overwhelming force that are willing to do anything to prevent your end. That makes no sense. And the only thing that is keeping people at a disadvantage so you can cheat. And then when you cheat, you're like, oh, this is a real victory. It's not a real victory. It's a fake victory. And this feeds into that shit. The ultimate cheater wish. They have to cheat at everything blatantly and do it really badly. Like, picture these guys competing in the Olympics, and one of these guys is on, like, the shock put thing, and then he just, like, crashes his car into the other shock put throwers and then beats them with a crowbar and assaults them. Eventually, these people, regardless of what the legality is, they would eventually be banned from competing in everything ever because it's a part of their religion to cheat. And when you put that out there and you let people know that these people aren't superior, they're just going to cheat at everything and then pretend to be superior, and which is a falsehood. They are inferior on every level, and they can't deal with the reality, so they spin a narrative that every time they hurt somebody, they're actually helping them because they're teaching them perseverance, or they're teaching them how to overcome an obstacle, or when they've actually derailed your life from your natural course and you were going where you were meant to be. They fuck you up and then scream they had a better plan, a diviner plan, a smarter plan, when it was all rigged for them to win to begin with. Because they're going to lie about everything. And this feed, once again, the stuff with whoever made the deal with Blondie and all this crazy shit that's been going on. Never make a deal with any bastard in this church ever. Okay? For any reason. Never take any money from them. Never trust them around your kids. Never trust them around your family. Because if your family slips up and says something they don't like, it's murder time. That's how it works with them. They hear you say words they don't like, your kid's gonna get fucking poisoned. Okay? They hear you say words you don't like, they're gonna rape you. Okay? They're gonna hurt you in some fucking way because they can't handle it. Because their religion is a violent, stupid religion, and they are violent, stupid people. Okay? This is why we have to get rid of all religion. Alright? And this even feeds into Anal Eating Mummy God explaining to me that because of his genes, and his kids are his genes, and he knows he has the superior genes, and blah, 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 the bullshit every malignant narcissist believe. Their genes are superior, they're smarter, they're better, and then when you fuck up their objective reality by proving they're not, they murder you because the solution's erasure, instead of sitting down with yourself in that long, dark night of the soul and going, I'm not superior. I just cheat at everything. I just cheat at everything. And I cannot be a good person on any level because I just cheat at everything because I'm a loser. And it's in my blood to be a loser. Yeah. I think, in the whole shit, they keep you at a disadvantage and then you're like, oh, you have to prove yourself after we've crippled you. Once again. But once again, if you took away their lead brains and LSD, they wouldn't have anything, and they wouldn't let you do that because that would involve keeping them fighting, one hand behind their back. Suddenly, they're not psychopaths with their lead brains. Suddenly, they can't just get high about it. Yeah. I just wanted to talk about this. So yeah, I guess for reiteration, a malignant narcissist will just do stuff to you, disguise it as, I'm trying to teach him a lesson, I'm trying to help them develop, when all they're trying to do is get back at you, fuck you up, and then bask in the glory of the envy they imagine that you have for them. You're jealous of me, and that makes me, oh, he's so fucking jealous, and what is that? A love of human suffering. You can call it Schadenfreude if you want, but it is a love of human suffering. And that is how you know they are not gods, because it literally states in the Bible, God does not love human suffering. The devil loves human suffering. So if you're in this church and you want the lie to believe your church leader is not the devil, don't, because they're the devil. And that is their only skill. This story of that guy in the Olympic Games cheating and destroying that guy's spine so that he could win is just a small example of how far these people will go and how deprived they are in their natures. And again, you should not let them around your family, friends, or anybody ever. They should be all forced to go live in Utah alone where they can cheat and poison each other with heavy metals and rape their kids and murder people because that's what they want to do.